We've just learned that President Trump's Situation Room meeting on the conflict between Iran and Israel has just wrapped up. Trump says he wants to end Iran's nuclear activities. Let's bring in CBS News White House correspondent Ed O'Keefe, who's live for us outside the White House where that meeting took place. Ed, what do we know about the meeting in the Situation Room?
Liz, we know it broke up about 20, 30 minutes ago. CBS News producers actually spotted the president heading back to the Oval Office there in the West Wing right after it concluded. He was joined by, among others, the Vice President, his National Security Advisor and Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, and Steve Witkoff, who is his special envoy to the Middle East. We now know, based on multiple sources, that among the topics discussed during this meeting was the big question of whether or not the United States should join Israel in military operations to essentially eliminate Iran's nuclear program, and whether or not specifically the location known as Fordow, which is that nuclear enrichment site inside mountains that would require 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs to be used to destroy it, should be authorized for use in this situation. There is not agreement among the president's top advisors over exactly how to proceed. At least there wasn't ahead of this meeting, and we're waiting to hear if the president has made some kind of a decision, whether he'll speak about that or use his social media platform to announce a decision. No word on that just yet. Earlier on Truth Social, the president signaled that he was back and certainly fully engaged on what was going on, suggesting in a initial message that the United States, or he said, sorry, we have full operational control over Iran's skies, which immediately led to questions about whether or not the United States had taken control of Iranians' airspace. The White House pushed back very quickly, saying, no, it's not the United States. He meant Israel, but we collectively, because, of course, the United States is being consulted on this. That was an interesting statement. Perhaps it was his subsequent statement regarding the Supreme Leader of Iran that drew even more attention, saying that the United States was aware of where the Supreme Leader is hiding. He is not an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, kill, at least not for now, but we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. That essentially reiterates what he had been saying for several days, that if Iran were to target U.S. military or diplomatic personnel in the Middle East, there would be an immediate and swift American military response. And by saying now out in the open that the Americans and Israelis know specifically where the Supreme Leader is, but we're not killing him, at least not yet, it signals again to Iran, we're on to you, and you have an opportunity to step back and potentially, end this in another way. Overnight, the president said on his flight back from the G7 in Canada, remember he abruptly flew back last night, that he wants a real end to the nuclear program in Iran and is not looking for a ceasefire between Iran and Israel, but a complete and total end of Iran's nuclear program.
And we know some of President Trump's biggest supporters do not want to see the United States enter a conflict with Iran. So how is the White House addressing political fallout from all of this?
Yeah, a notable message earlier today of support for the president from the Vice President, J.D. Vance, using his personal Twitter account to, in essence, say that the president has been amazingly consistent over 10 years regarding Iran and his belief that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. So sort of reminding his base of support, look, the president's always said this isn't new. And then adding later that he sees no reason why Iran needs to be enriching uranium at the levels that it is for potentially non-civilian and nefarious reasons. And then adding, the president has shown remarkable restraint in keeping our military's focus on protecting our troops and protecting our citizens. A key statement because conservative commentators, former allies of the president, or maybe current allies, but at least today not, Tucker Carlson among them, a handful of Republican lawmakers like Rand Paul, the Republican senator of Kentucky, saying the president should not be engaging in a foreign war. We've seen this before from Republican and Democratic administrations, most notably George W. Bush during the Iraq War, and we don't want to do that again. What Vance adds, though, is he may decide, the president, he needs to take further action to end Iranian enrichment. That decision ultimately belongs to the president, and of course people are right to be worried about foreign entanglement after the last 25 years of what he called idiotic foreign policy. So in essence, it's saying to the MAGA base, we know you're concerned about the potential for foreign wars and the U.S. getting involved, but there may be good reason, and it's in keeping with one of President Trump's consistent statements when he was a candidate, when he was president the first time, when he was a candidate again and president again, that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. And if he's convinced by the Israelis and by his advisors that there's a chance to permanently end it, he may very well take it. We'll see how his conservative base reacts to that. Republican Party is split on this issue, as it often is on potential foreign military interventions. But for now, the White House laying the groundwork for the potential of more direct military engagement by the United States in this conflict.
Ed O'Keefe, thank you so much. Great to see you.